In today's video, I'll be using the example of This Is Amazing Grace to demonstrate my process of tonal recreation as it applies to effects, specifically that organ-like sound that ping-pongs between the two left and right speakers. Let's turn the guitar from this to this. Let's nail that tone. Hello and welcome, my name is Justin and I'm all about worship guitar. When I teach band dynamics to worship teams, I say that one important skill that musicians need to learn is critical listening. You want to be able to hear your part, reverse engineer it, and reproduce it on your own. Half the equation is, of course, the musical side of learning the rhythm, melody, and harmony of the parts. The other half is what I call tonal recreation. Being able to take apart the tone that you hear and reproduce it with your gear. In training your critical listening skills and applying them to the process of tonal recreation, it is helpful to know that there is a starting point. There are several categories of sound and we'll use those categories as mental tags so that we can pick apart a tone. For brevity's sake, there are pitch, dynamics, gain, modulation, delay, and reverb. The goal is to be able to identify sonic textures according to their effect categories and then craft the tone as closely as we can with the tools that we have. Let's hear the part in question. The easiest place to start is with the dry effects of dynamics and gain. Here's where we have to decide on whether it's a clean, crunch, or lead tone. I hear more pure tones without hard edges, so I'm not going to turn on multiple overdrive pedals to get a distorted tone. One thing I've learned is that guitar parts are not as gained up as we think they are. For this part, I'm going with a mild overdrive that's more rounded and smooth. Next, let's tackle the wet section of delay and reverb. Here's where less is more applies. I get it, it's tempting to crank up the delay and reverb with our fancy devices, but for a part like this to stand out in the mix, you have to tune the wet section down low enough that it doesn't mush up the part. That's what too much delay and reverb can do, so turn the reverb, decay, and mix lower. However, we can hear a certain amount of ping pong and bounce with the delay. Let's try turning up the delay mix and feedback to match that bounciness. That's not quite the same as the part in question, although in a pinch, I will probably use this current effects palette as is. On my small board, for example, I don't have any pitch or modulation effects, so I'll probably have to play the part a little differently to match the same energy as the original part with the additional effects. Since we're going for 100% accuracy, let's tackle the specifics of the effect used. The delay ping-pongs between the left and right speakers in a fixed rhythmic pattern. To catch that rhythmic pattern, I try several things like tapping the pattern as I hear it and then matching it with several settings on my gear. For some delay pedals, you can set the delay subdivision on the left and right speakers independently. Here's what some settings sound like. That sounds more like it. What you've heard are the two most common dual delay settings, and between the two, I think the setting is 8th plus dotted 8th. In time, the more exposed and aware you are to various delay settings, the faster you'll be able to figure it out just by hearing or tapping. At this point, the guitar still sounds like a guitar, but that's going to change with these next two effects. At the surface level, we make the first observation that the effect sounds like an organ, but not quite like a grand pipe organ. There's too much wobble going on. I think they're going for a rock organ sound. There's something about the guitar's tone and timbre that makes it organ-like when you blend in an octave up and an octave down. On pedal boards, the poly-octave generator or POG is responsible for these sounds, but we can easily replicate this on our multi-effects pedals by finding a pitch shifter. The final piece of the puzzle is the fast wobble you hear in the pitch. On a rock organ, there's a Leslie speaker used as amplification, and a fast rotary speaker is what adds the spinning sound to the whole tone. In electric guitar land, there's one effect that introduces a rapid mild fluctuation in pitch, which doesn't throw the guitar out of tune, but instead causes a spinning effect to the sound. The vibrato. Stacking the octave effects in front with a vibrato effect after them causes the guitar to lose its sonic identity, transforming it from guitar to rock organ. Select -12 and +12 octaves in the pitch shifter, choose a moderate to fast speed in the vibrato, and altogether with the delay and reverb, you finally get our tone for This Is Amazing Grace. Postscript. Now, all of that was with the TC Electronics Plethora X5 providing all the effects as an FX loop insert in the HX Stomp. But I'm going to show you how you can create the same kind of sounds with the HX Stomp by itself as an all-in-one device. The patches for this song, as well as the dual Liti amp patch for the insert of an FX loop like with my Plethora X5, will be provided for free as an update in my HX Stomp Worship Essentials pack. So go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. In conclusion, tonal recreation will seem like a laborious process at first, but the more exposed you are to music, the more aware of the different categories of sound you'll be. In time, you'll be able to recognize those tones quicker and be able to pull out and dial in effects. If you want to hear more of this particular pedal board, I've made a previous video that explores in detail how it all came together, as well as share the challenges I had to overcome because of some fundamental mistakes I was making. See you in the next video. As always, this is Justin, and I'm all about worship guitar.